Let me tell you about the other day. I had a pretty rough night before, rough enough to where I was written off as a statistic in a four-way fight between me, local security forces, heavily armed insurrectionists, and a small group of rebels who tolerate me just enough to where they're the only people that don't shoot me on sight. It was the kind of firefight that is so amazing it only happens when I decide that I'm just going to play a game and not bother to boot up OBS, so after the fact I've got no proof of what happened, aside from the fact that I woke up in a bunkhouse with the rebels with only my rifle, a computer board I had crossed the zone to find and hand off to an employer because I didn't want to have to go and find another, and enough ammo to make myself a lot of people's problem. I had a few things in a stash the rebels let me keep on their base, so I grabbed a dinky little SMG and a few staple items before heating something up to eat over the communal campfire. I didn't really care about the whole getting shot at and left for dead thing, that's just how things are in the zone. There was something else though that was more than enough to send me right back to the rail depot that was probably still crawling with dudes better equipped than me and pissed off at the very thought of me. I want my shit back. And by my shit, I mean Froggy. They took Froggy and I want him back. I don't care how many people I have to go through to get my lucky frog back. Greetings, bones and ghouls. Welcome back to another video of a cool indie game and maybe some box stacking if we're feeling spicy. It's been a while since I've been doing anything lately, so first off, I want to thank you all for your patience, and second, I want to thank you all so much for your support this Halloween in July. There were so many of you who pledged at the yearly rate that not only did you far surpass what I thought I was going to be able to get, but you also far surpassed like all the stuff I ordered where I even account for like, okay, there's going to be some extra, but whatever. So I had to order entire new shipments of, oh goodness. I'm not wearing it, well, good thing I have a literal box of them now. We're already off to a great start in this video. My office was filled. It was like boxes of stuff that I was just getting them out as fast as I can. But that's all taken care of now, so let's talk about Project Silverfish. Project Silverfish is a game that a lot of you had told me about, and the dev themselves, Cyrus Pendrick, emailed me about, which resulted in a funny conversation I tend to have with indie devs along the lines of, Lamau, I've already bought your game, don't worry about a key. I still feel weird about taking keys from indies and try to do it as little as possible. Project Silverfish was just released into early access in July, and while I initially felt kind of bad since July is when I sort of take my break and just let videos I've banked away during the first half of the year keep the channel going, it looks like Project Silverfish is doing fine without me, and hell yeah, I can see why. Project Silverfish is one of those games that I played a bunch in a very short span of time, realized I had way too much footage for what I reasonably needed for a video, and then proceeded to play even more of it on my own time. Project Silverfish is something that we can call a Stalker-like, or maybe a zone game. Everything you like about Stalker is there in a nice little package that is smaller than the original Shadow of Chernobyl. There will be paramilitary infighting, there will be anomalies and artifacts. There will be canned beans. Before we get into Project Silverfish though, let's shout out a demo for an upcoming indie game, Crawlu. Crawlu is a game where you play as a trolley conductor and must dispense tickets to new passengers, toss out people trying to skip out on the fare, and get in fights. It's a brand new genre of game called American Survival Horror. Jokes aside, it's a great little gameplay loop and I had a ton of fun with it, and this game's got a great sense of humor to boot. Just look at this little guy go! As always, it's a demo that's free for you to try out on Steam, and if you end up liking it, be sure to wishlist the game so you get notified when the full version comes out, which, come to think of it, based on some tweets I saw, I think that's next week, like the full game is coming out next week. Now let's enter the zone. Welcome to the zone. Your first question is, do you like guns? I sure hope you do, because we have all of them. Okay, maybe not that many, but there are a whole lot of guns and a whole lot of ways to work them into your loadout. You have a weight limit, which if you exceed, you'll start incurring a pretty dangerous movement penalty, and sometimes the difference between cleaning out a major outpost and stealing everything that isn't bolted down, and becoming lead-based compost is how quickly you can move into and out of cover. The AI is smart enough to where it can do flanking and pincer maneuvers on you, and you will get boxed in if you are careless about positioning. This is the kind of game where at times I've spent 5 to 10 minutes at one of my stashes fighting over, do I run the lighter 5.56 rifle as my main weapon to save on carry weight, or do I want my trusty 30-06 DMR, which carries significantly less ammo per magazine, but cares not for the dinky little plates the insurrectionists are wearing and can reliably hit stuff that's just barely in squinting with your naked eye distance. I often chose the latter, as by the time people figure out where I'm shooting at them from, at least 2 of the guys are on the floor out of the squad of 4. If anything gets within shouting distance, I have my semi-auto shotgun for medium range cleanup, and if all else fails, mag dump with the sidearm. But do I run a 9mm sidearm, or do I run a 45? My 9 has a higher capacity, a kind of useless silencer, and a not so useless laser sight, but the 45 does more in 1 or 2 well-placed shots than what might take half a magazine to do from the 9. And this is all before we get into what ammo types are available to me for which gun, of both respective calibers I choose. Is it a good choice to keep my shotgun that weighs close to 5 kilos before accounting for ammunition, or do I run a lighter SMG I picked up off the military the other day that's basically a bullet hose? That'd solve my pistol dilemma because the SMG runs 9mm, so my sidearm should be 45. That way I don't have 2 guns sucking up the same ammo pool. Or maybe that's a potential advantage because that's 1 less type of ammo to keep track of. I hope this is all getting across just how much of a Stalker-esque game this is and how much this game loves guns. I cannot think of a more zone-like thing to do than just sit there customizing your kit, shaving off hundreds of a kilogram in your loadout so that you can go steal more stuff out in the zone. Hell, I have found 5 different kinds of potential ammos for the shotgun, and I know I'm maybe just barely getting into the mid game. I have a couple artifacts I'm actively using, and I'm I know there's still areas I haven't been to yet. This is also just into early access, and like it says on the thing, sometimes new things will be found in old places and other things will be added. If you like games with a lot of variety in gunplay and just having a lot of fun setting up your loadout, this part alone might be a done deal for you. So what are you gonna do with all that steel though? Well, it's a big zone and you've got to explore, find the artifacts, see some weird stuff, take some job, make some money, pay down the debt, and pick a side or two in the ongoing conflict. Pick some fights in the Metropole. Go to the depot. It's basically like paramilitary fight club. The game's overworld very much feels like the overworld of a Stalker game, in that there are a smattering of major areas that are all connected that you travel to on foot, and between various factions, you'll find that some are more active than others depending on whose territory you're in. There are plenty of labs and other areas you can find and to explore, but nothing will be given to you. You have to find things like the safe areas with traders and job givers, and you gotta go off context clues. I was able to find the safe house for the laboratory based on the description of a job I took on the owner's behalf, and I found the freelancer's main hub in the middle of the zone by just following all the posters they put up. Heck, there's even a neutral saloon where people that would normally be shooting me dead are just hanging out. On that note, take the jobs. They are quest hooks designed as simple tasks. Without spoiling too much, what looks like a very basic kill quest turns out to be a way for you to find one of the most expansive secret areas in the game. Taking a job from Dr. Mosby will most likely be your first brush with artifacts. Project Silverfish is very much a game that likes to use a light touch when tutorializing the player on the absolute basics of controls. I didn't even know that you could dig with shovels until I took a quest from the broker and followed that quest until I found out that the treasure was physically buried. Now I keep a shovel in all of my safe house stashes just in case I need to go dig something up because my detector went off and I don't immediately see anything. I really do enjoy how they do the quests in Project Silverfish so far. Apparently the main story isn't even in the game yet, but what we've got already is great. It's the kind of stuff where you'll get a simple job description with maybe one lead if you're lucky. You go to that lead, you discover other leads. There's no quest arrows, there's just sleuthing. You have to get into other areas, you have to talk to other people, and eventually you just find it on your own. And I think so far, Project Silverfish just has a really good showing for quest design. The game is also very hardcore, TM. You don't get a HUD unless you have a special piece of headgear that gives you a HUD. There are no fast travel points, you get the idea. There are a few starting classes where you first get the game going, and someone is yapping a storm. We have a yapper on the premises. I'm I'm going to acquire... Oh, you're right here. Oh, it's 20 minutes until snack time. I better hurry up and record. Oh, look at this. I've captured the yapper. Okay, I'll let you down. Letting you down gently. You have less than 20 minutes before dinner. It's your sprinkle dinner, too. I know you love the sprinkles. There are a few starting classes when you first get the game going, and while I chose what I think was the most vanilla experience possible to set a baseline for myself, there's a lot of customization for your game scenario. You can play keeping 5 items upon death for your run back, keep no items on death and have to run back and get everything, keep 5 items but everything else gets presumably looted because it's gone for good, or ignore all failsafes and play hardcore mode. There is also an option to have all your safe house stashes be shared, which is off by default, and I personally like having the separate stashes as it lets me keep relevant stuff in relevant places, and I feel like I'm building up a foothold in a region as I stock up a new stash. There's a whole lot of stuff you can tweak in the custom game settings, and you can build your character from the ground up if you really want to customize your playthrough. Me though, I'm having a great time with just my default Wanderer start on the default game settings. So if I haven't made it obvious enough yet, this is a game that very much emulates Stalker. There are artifacts that you can find which will do fantastical things or make you a nice chunk of change if you can sell it to the right person. There will be anomalies ranging from whoa, what is that, to basically mulching you. The main difference between Stalker's anomalies and the anomalies of Project Silverfish is that Silverfish's anomalies are mostly randomized. There are a few things that will stay in place, but sometimes the best way to deal with an anomaly that's in the way of somewhere you have to go is to just leave and come back later to when it's changed to something more manageable or something that can be easily disarmed or navigated by tossing bolts, which, yep, we're tossing bolts in this one. Then we've got the mutants, or the fey creatures. I'm not sure on the full terminology, as I've seen a few conversations that the post-human creatures that you play as are occasionally referred to as fey, but there are also books that describe the mutant analogs in this zone as fey creatures. Sidebar here because, why not? There's a lot of lore in this game already, despite the main story not really being there yet. I'm not going to get too into it though, because I mean there is a lot and we don't have the full picture yet. A lot of mutants or fae or whatever these guys are going to try and kill you, and they're reminiscent or have similar function to Stalker mutants. There is the not a deer that is basically the bloodsucker in levels of tankiness and speed, but is lacking the big suck. There is something that is basically a brewer, but is somehow more freaky. There are the bad doggies, and in place of zombies, we have these post-human robot cyborg thingies that sometimes have guns on them too. I don't really know what they are, but I don't like them. You get it though. This game is a love letter to Stalker, and it gets all the fun parts down. And oh yeah, there are guns, like oodles and oodles of guns. I'm not going to rehash the entire part of the gameplay segment. Instead, we're just going to say that there's almost nothing more Stalker than having a shitload of guns and a shitload of ammunition types for you to get fussy over. Every faction has its seemingly own set of preferred weapons for their foot soldiers, plus the stuff you can find way out in the boonies. And then later on, they'll bring even more kit when they realize you're a serious threat. And on one hand, oh no, they're bringing bigger, nastier guns. On the other hand, oh yes, they're bringing bigger, nastier guns! Give them to me! Another thing that Silverfish does that I might be so bold to say is maybe a more realized version of something GSC tried to do in Clear Sky is a faction system where each group has their own objectives and means to carry out those objectives, and you are the force multiplier. While I haven't been able to make any serious changes in the balance of power in the post-human zone, aside from pissing the military off enough for them to send people who know how to do flanking maneuvers and are given weapons that are suitable for things other than just plinking, you can and will probably end up being a little ball of violence that leads to at least one faction completing their goals, even if that's by accident, and you're probably going to destroy 3 others. The best part of the faction system is that when NPCs throw grenades, they do not throw them with pinpoint accuracy and never in near perfect synchronization with every other enemy on the map. I still got memories of that one hill in Clear Sky. And finally, Project Silverfish is up on all of its Stalker terms. The zone, stalkers, anomalies, loners, and almost everything else you can think of. Not to tiptoe around all the lore again, but the one thing that I'm not really sure on, based on all the lore stuff that's just floating around is that if the zone means the zone, like in Stalker, where it's just one place, or if based on some of the stuff I've seen, we call it the zone because that's where we are right now, but it's more like Roadside Picnic, where this is one of many zones left behind by our mostly gone human predecessors. Two last things for this part of the video before we move on to the spookies, since I don't really have anywhere else to talk about them. For one, no cooking segment this video. While I have been filming a lot of cooking segments recently, those are all for IndieWeen, which is going to be very ambitious this year. Second, since we've been talking about Stalker a whole lot in this video, I should say that I'm well aware of Stalker 2, and have presently decided that I'm holding off on playing or making any sort of video on the game, let alone any judgments of the game for the time being. As some of you know, I have a 3 strikes rule when it comes to games getting delayed. Stalker 2 is the exception to this rule. Given the frankly insane conditions that Games World GSC has had to develop Stalker 2, they can take all the time they need to get it well and truly done. Based on some of the patch notes I've seen, since I am actively following the game, that might not be for a good while, but I'm fine with waiting. Sidebar to a sidebar, I also know that some of you are waiting for a Metro Exodus video, and I've got nothing like on that. It's just, it's a lot of like seeing like the game and going, ooh, that's going to be another 20 to 40 hours just to get the game done. But then my dumb ass goes and starts a playthrough of Abiotic Factory that's already past 100 hours for a video. I swear there is a list of videos that I'm going to make. It's just a very long list, and things that are relevant to my niche or things I am especially passionate about take priority versus a series that I dipped my toes into for Halloween in July about 3 years ago. I have nothing against it, just I'm gonna do stuff like Project Silverfish before I do that. And actually, on that note of making videos and maybe revisiting videos, I've been really meaning to do the Sinking Cities remaster because what is it? Frogwares, they finally got the rights to the game back, or whatever happened there. And on top of like, if you bought it through like a third party where like they got the money, the company gave you a key for that for Steam. But also, if you have the game, you also got the remaster for free. And I want to get all over that because the Sinking City video is not my best work. But we are getting really sidetracked here. This video is supposed to be about Project Silverfish. Project Silverfish actually has some pretty spooky moments. For starters, remember those mutants? They are very much a threat. And on top of being pretty freaky looking, they are good at sneaking up on you. You will get jumped by Mr. Grabber from all the way downtown. The first time you see the not a deer will most likely when it is performing a TPK on at least one whole squad of NPCs, and you're gonna have not much more than a sad little 9mm sidearm the first time they see you. Thank goodness that there isn't a sprint meter in this game and you can just book it indefinitely. Then there's the weirder stuff like Mr. Fireball or the Orb. Don't even get me started on what I think are blowouts or the fog that summons the angels. The game can get dark too in a literal sense. Even safe areas get dark enough to where you'll need a light source since the zone isn't exactly a place that is full functional public lighting. Never mind that some of those labs you're going to go into to explore for the good stuff, there is no light whatsoever, except for maybe a few computer screens. And then you get to the real threats, other stalkers. It straight up says in the item description of anything that can act as a light source, that using a light source will make it to where everyone who can comprehend what a light source is will know exactly where you are. Lucky for you though, that's a two-way street. I've been able to like take out guys in the dark by just seeing where their flashlight is. There's a certain sense of tension from just using a light anywhere, especially in a place that you haven't been to before, because you don't know what's down there. And the only thing that's scarier than not being able to see what's lurking around the corner is not knowing what's capable of seeing you. And it wouldn't be a Stalker like if things didn't just get weird. Stuff that I'm not sure if maybe it's a really strange bug, or if this was something I just can't explain or understand yet. Sometimes it's the angels, sometimes it's I'm randomly getting jerked around. It's kind of hard to quantify the out of left field because I'm not super deep into this game and I know there are anomalies. Heck, there's probably even going to be some weirder stuff once I get into the late game areas. And like I said earlier in this video, this game was released into early access. The version of the game I was playing was 0.1.96. And according to the post on the big retirement home for Tumblr millennials, Cyrus says that point 2 seems just about good to go. I was 10 hours and change deep when I stopped recording for the video, and now I'm closer to between 15 and 20. Actually, I can just look at my Steam page right now. I am at... Ooh, I'm actually almost at 20 hours. Nice. I am nowhere near the late game or even the mid game. I just finally started exploring other early game areas like the beach or going to the Loner's Tavern, the bar area. I haven't had contact with entire factions yet. There are entire weapons that as I wrote this, I said I hadn't even seen yet, but I have found some ether powered weapons, but I don't have a way to reliably reload them yet. So I keep them in my stash. Half the map is currently a big question mark for me. It's a big question mark for you too. You have 5 minutes. You're a brave boy. You're a brave boy. You can survive the 4 minutes now before snack time. Can you do it? Guys, I think he's gonna survive till snack time. Despite the game's maps feeling like a smaller, more compact version of Stalker's maps, it's still a big world and there's a lot of stuff to do in it. On the note of polish, I haven't really encountered any serious bugs. I'm surprised about that. If anything's happening that wasn't supposed to happen, I didn't notice it. Additionally, this game runs smooth. I limit my PC's frame rate to 144, and the only time Project Silverfish wasn't right at 144 frames per second was when it was first loading into my save or when I was just entering into a large instance like a lab. Better yet, there's the option right on the main menu to preload in all of the shaders in the game for even faster loads while playing. Yeah, it's super lo-fi or whatever, but I'll take a smooth frame rate over a 200 gigabyte AAA slop fest any day. The game is less than 4 gigs unpacked onto your hard drive and costs half as much as what games used to cost before the price bump this year. It runs fast, the AI is really solid, making the firefights really good, and that's no matter how many dudes are currently shooting at each other or how many factions are in a given instance, and I haven't crashed, soft locked, or had items glitch out on me. Going off what the early access blurb says here, it's coming along, and there's quite a bit coming along. As the blurb says itself, the core identity and mechanics of the game are already set in stone, as is a fair chunk of the content and polish, unquote. And then lists, among other things, new maps, dungeons, story quests, endings, and more stuff that's coming. This is also, by their own words, a game being made by 2 people, and by 2 people, according to what I've peeped at in the credits, it's mostly Cyrus with the other dev doing UI stuff. Admittedly, UI stuff is very important, and if there was something you'd want to designate a guy for, it'd probably be that. The other main thing to take away from the early access blurb is that the game is already at its full price of $30 or your regional equivalent, and it's worth every penny. Hell, for the money of a AAA game, you can get a copy of Project Silverfish for yourself and a friend and still have $10 left over to go get some sweets at your local bakery. Support your mom and pop shops, everyone. My final thoughts on Project Silverfish is that I only have one regret with it. I did not play it right as it came out. This game is the only thing that broke my streak on Abiotic Factor, which is another video that's coming soon-ish. I'm shooting for late September right before IndieWeen starts. That's a big ask though, as I've already gone overboard with my plans on IndieWeen. Good thing I've got some new hardware like this new webcam that you guys helped me get, plus a better lighting setup so I can be in front of the camera and make videos a little faster and a little more efficiently. Make sure that you subscribe to see all those cool and weird games I find to show off to you, and please consider liking the video and leaving a little comment to help this video along in its journey through YouTube and help other people find out about Project Silverfish. How about you tell me your favorite artifact or min-maxing artifact combo? I've always been a big fan of using a bunch of the blue orbs in Shadow of Chernobyl that increase your stamina so that I can run around at freeway speeds indefinitely through the zone. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons who make this channel possible, and if you too want to help with this sort of thing, supporting me on Patreon makes these videos possible, and there's all sorts of perks like the standalone cooking segments with full recipes and early videos there for you. Lastly, I stream over on the Purple Place, where on days video goes live, we stream demos like the one I told you about earlier, Tralu. Don't forget to check that demo out. Actually though, I think this time around we're just gonna play more Project Silverfish because I want to play more Project Silverfish. Come on down. For now though, look, snack time! Snack time. Oh, I gotta go get his sprinkles. One sec. For now, though, let's sign off. Remember that no matter what you do, be it drawing, painting, or whatever's going on with those funny orb sculptures in town, what you do should never be called content. It is art. Content is a word that in recent years has been twisted into meaning a means to grind up all your skills, passions, and aspirations into a gray sludge that's meant for nothing more than to make a line go up for someone else's benefit. Your art in no way deserves that, because art is sacred. Art is a reflection of its creator by the very means of its creation, and no way do you deserve to be reduced to content. So get out there and fight for yourself by fighting against the contentification of everything. Stay saucy.
Saucy boy. I see you are on the yoga mat, which I have left out for the streams. I know you like to sit on it. You've always liked to sit on it. Are you a yoga boy? Is that why you do your big stretches? Oh, you gonna loaf up? At least you're off my gym bag now, so I can like take out all the stuff that needs to be washed. Loafilus. Why are we having a little flicky tail? Did a single pet ruin your yoga session? Is that how it is? I'm gonna get rotated. That's like a quarter rotation there. Okay, are you good? You're not stuck? Cool. Yeah, I don't own things. I just like hold on to things until he decides he wants to sit on them. You know, wait a minute. Your flamingo isn't with your toys. You've been playing without me again. You're just too cool to do playtime when your mother and I are around. But as soon as we're gone, you're like, I will yeet this flamingo into space. I guess when we're here, you gotta steal the yoga mat? I see how it is.